Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Hope you guys are all having a good day. I'm joined by Ben J. Nassim, Chris Duarte, aka Parasite, and of course Patrick Price, aka Aches. And today we got a day that I don't think anybody expected. The king of COD, Scump, from Optic, Texas. Everybody knows Scump. He's a legend in the game. Retired from competitive Call of Duty, and I think that caught a lot of us by surprise. I don't think any of us expected that. So it's a sad day, man. Sad day. I know Pat's throwing up memes, but for me, man, it's a sad day, bro. Being somebody who played against Scump, played with him before I was a pro, I watched him and watched everything that he did, early on when he was young. And to see the career that he's had, dude, to me, it's just like an incredible career, bro. And I feel like he's done so much for this esport and so much for COD competitive. And I just really feel like him and a lot of the guys over there really paved the way to allow us to do what we do and to get to the community where it is now. I think COD competitive has come a really long way, and I think somebody like Scump was a big part of that. So, I just want to show some love to him, man. I feel like when you take a step back, it's always hard. But, gentlemen, what's your initial thoughts? Ben, let's kick it off with you.
I think you summarized it well. I think a lot of people, competitors, fans, even people on the professional side of the business, I think a lot of people, when they started following this esport, they usually trace it back to either Matt or Seth or a combo or both in terms of content. And I think especially for players, obviously, it's a little bit predates that, but getting involved with those guys and the exposure of their brand. Along with that, I think it's a big loss for the esports. That's going to retire as, if we count outside of pure playing ability wins, for what he's done for the scene and brand and all that, going to be up there with the greatest, if not the greatest of all time player convo. But I want to kick it to Chris and Pat. I don't know which one of y'all want to go first and like your guys' thoughts as a competitor, like alongside or teaming with Seth or against him, and kind of what your thoughts are.
Well, I was never always on the best of terms with Seth, but I've always respected him as a competitor, and I've always acknowledged all the things he's done for the scene. Me and Pat both have been competing basically since this guy came up.
Whoa. Competing before that guy came up.
Well, yeah, but me and you, at least I remember hearing of him back in Modern Warfare 2, and his like rise to like the pro level was like so quick. He ended up getting on like a team with like you might know these guys or remember these guys. You remember Asian and Mainstream, those guys, and then he ended up getting on Fear, and then eventually on your team, Pat, which is where he started his like, dominance, right? Where you guys were really good on leverage and stuff like that. So, man, I've been playing against this guy for a very, very, very long time. And I mean, I can't say more about his career. Playing against him all the time was always a pleasure. He was definitely one of those players that everyone wanted to beat, not only because they were obviously a part of Optic and how big that brand was, but also because, the guy was really fucking good. Really, really good at the game. He literally went out in his last match dropping a 1.2. Like the guy didn't quit, obviously, because, he couldn't do it anymore. The guy was still obviously a top talent, arguably the best on his team. I'm just surprised, honestly, because he said he was going to finish out the season, and I don't know what pushed him over to make the decision to quit. But I mean, it's saddening for people like us, a lot of the old heads that have known him for a long time. We always like want to champion, the people that are still playing, like Clay and Scump and all those guys. So yeah. Honestly, just it's very sad.
Yeah, no, I agree. Pat, what do you think? I mean, Scump's he's a legend, bro. He's been around forever.
Yeah, me and Seth have been friends for a long time. I wouldn't say the best of friends, but we've definitely known each other a very long time as competitors. Like Chris kind of mentioned, like I picked Seth up in BO1. We had our first his first event win was with me back on the Quantic LVG days in 2011, which is crazy to think about. That was 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's insane.
Legit 12 years ago. So yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean, I think that we obviously thought he was going to last to the end of the season, but regardless of kind of his talent on this game, I think it was clear that even when you hear he was debating it in the off season, right? Like I just don't think he enjoyed the competition as much anymore. and was ready to move on to bigger and better things. Obviously, talent was an issue. He was still probably one of, if not the best player on that Optic team. But yeah, I mean, it's just it sucks to see for the scene. I think Clay is like the last. Correct me if I'm wrong. Clay's like the last old head left of like all the OG guys.
Chris is still playing.
Nah, it's not the same. It's challengers.
Well, I'm talking about in the CDL, and Chris
also,
is like
I guess
stopped
Bance
and went
too.
back.
Bance too. He's pretty.
Yeah,
he's
Bance
pretty
is
up there.
is a good one.
I'm thinking back to like COD 4, BO1, MW2 days. Like,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't know this. What was, dude, Chris? You might remember. What was Seth's tag in MW2? Wasn't it Skylight?
Yeah,
it was Skylight, right?
He's VWS Skylight, bro.
Skylight, yeah, he was. Oh, guy.
I mean, there's a lot of guys, man, like Slasher, Clay, Attach, right? Octane.
But those were kind of like Gen 2. Those are all like Gen 2 guys. When I think like OG, I'm talking about like
MW2, bro.
Yeah, MW2. Like if you were competing in something competitive back then, that's like the Gen 1 for me. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously methods and everyone else, but that was kind of like BO2 and on. But yeah, I mean, it sucks to see. I think Nameless tweeted out like a Grim Reaper gif, like coming for Clay.
Oh yeah,
he's the last
I saw
one.
that. Yeah, I did see that.
It's sad to see, and it's interesting too, like what the CDL is going to look like when all those Gen 1 guys are fully gone. But I was kind of pissed. I was kind of pissed at Seth in his video, though. I was kind of pissed.
Why?
A little bit of contradictory information in it, Tom. I was a little upset.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna have to bring it up. Got it. It's on stream.
Read it out loud, Pat. Read it out loud. It's small on my screen. You got to read it out for us. Go ahead.
It's too small for you?
Yep, too small for me. You gave me my first shot alongside at Eggs. Couldn't be more grateful. Love you, my guy. Good luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah, but in the video, he said it was Ray. But I just wanted to clarify who Seth got his first few dubs with before he teamed with Ray.
Okay, I see
and
what you're saying.
He only teamed with Ray for a year. You see what I'm saying? But it's all good. It's all love. I think Seth knows it's cool. It's a retirement video. We're not. It's all good. But
I'm sure Seth remembers those times, man. Seth remembers those times. I'm sure he thinks about those days. And,
he just didn't want Ray to feel bad. Ray was in the room with him. He didn't want him to feel bad.
Yeah. But listen, for me, bro, it's just I think it's gonna look great when Seth's back. He's gonna be doing so much good behind the scenes now. I feel like Octane was saying the same. He's like, Seth might be able to do so much for the community not playing. He's going to have a lot going on. He could do watch parties, and he said that they got a lot of stuff in the works. Like, he's still going to be around, Pat and Ben and Chris. Like, he's still going to be here, and I'm sure he'll still be involved. But how do you think it looks for the COD community? Like, what do you guys think?
I think it looks great for Warzone.
You think Seth is going to play Warzone, or do you think he's going to go play Warzone? I'm not really sure what he wants to do.
Playing multiplayer personally. I don't see him playing multiplayer. I mean, maybe he'll play ranked when it comes out, but I imagine he's gonna be on his stream grind. He's got to play something. I just don't think multiplayer is the content that he would want to play.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Warzone content right now is not exactly popping until they release some new stuff, so it's in a little bit of a lull. I think. So he can be.
There's a lot of games coming out too. Yeah, I was about to say.
He can play like my man.
Hey Seth, if you're watching, man, we get you on some extra Defiant. See what you think.
I mean, that's one thing I was saying, because he was in the chat before. But I was like, dude, you can play whatever you want now. Do whatever you want. He's not obligated to do anything. You can play any game he wants to play. But no, Pat, I wanted to kind of get your opinion on it, but I don't think it might take a little hit, like maybe the community itself. But I think Seth will still be involved. Right?
I think he'll be involved. He's going to go to events. I think he'll be involved as like the same as some content creators have been involved with Optic in the past, but obviously to a much bigger level.
Yeah.
But I do think the interest kind of fades slightly. And this is just naturally going to happen, right? Like a lot of people's favorite player is Seth, right? Like we've had jokes before where like majority of the CDL fan base is obviously heavily Optic, and of that heavily Scump. And so yeah, I mean, I think if he moves on to other things, which obviously I think he'll still be involved, it's still going to be the brand that he supports and is with. But as far as like competition, the true CDL matches, I do think the interest fades a little bit. I think it might take a little bit of time, but I mean, I am kind of worried from an overall Ben would say trajectory standpoint.
Yeah.
Of viewership engagement and how that trends over time.
What do you think, Ben? You agree with that?
It's kind of weird because you're gonna see viewership sag off anyway over the next like couple of weeks, just because NFL playoffs, a bunch of other things going on. We're gonna start to get later in the season, so people's interest is gonna wane anyway. But I agree. I think we're gonna lose a few viewers that are like watching just for Seth, and if he's not watch party streaming, like if he's just sort of idle, I think those people just aren't gonna tune in. So that's probably gonna see a little bit of a drop off.
He didn't he mention he's going to every event, so watch parties might be a little tough. No,
Well,
mentioned going to an event, taking pictures.
What him going to an event like means, right? You know.
True, but
So,
assuming he doesn't watch party, I think it definitely will.
so I do think viewership will sag, but I think that's the nice part of moving to Twitch. Like, you know, I think away from the nice thing about our move to Twitch for the community is people are able to choose their experience now on the platform. So I think that's going to help kind of keep increased engagement towards the CDL stream whenever it's on. But yeah, if he's idle, he's not like, especially for online matches, if he's not creating content or live, I think you'll see a little bit of a dip. But I expect him to, like, at minimum, like anytime Optic plays, I would be surprised if he's not watch partying, you know?
Well, I mean, to me, it just sounds like we might need another couch at the Flank Live Tour.
Another
We're already
couch?
bringing like 2 couches. I think we got.
We might need another couch if Seth, or another headset, Tom. Another headset. Might have to hit up Pepsi.
Hey, we might need to get another headset. It's up to Seth, man. If he wants to come hop on a couch and come chill out a little bit, you know, he might get his own fucking couch. You know what I'm saying? He might get his own.
He doesn't need to do all that.
It just means Gersh is gonna have to leave his seat on the couch occasionally.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Nah. We make room for the king. We make room. Yo, poor Gersh. It's like, damn, what the.
daggers. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
bro.
poor Gersh, bro. But yeah, Chris, would you agree with what Pat and Ben said?
I mean, I think there are definitely people out there that literally only watched him play, but I mean, I don't think it's going to be that crazy. Simply because Optic went out pretty early at the major, and viewership was still pretty damn high. So just looking at the statistics of things, I don't think it's going to change that crazy. But I mean, his impact is definitely going to be sorely missed. The guy's a staple. So I mean, there will definitely be people out there that probably like lose interest, but I doubt it's gonna really resonate with like the hardcore like Call of Duty competitive fans.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just to see everybody's reaction on socials today was crazy. I saw a lot of people showing love. I saw Carl Anthony Towns, right? Just a lot of big names showing some love to Scump, which was really cool to see. And all the love that he's gotten, he's deserved tenfolds, in my opinion. I mean, he's been doing it since he was, what, Pat, 13, 14? I don't know how old he was when he first started, but especially
his original tournaments are like NJ Halo. He was probably really young. I'm not sure exactly how old, but yeah, probably 11, 13, something in that range.
Yeah, which is insane. That's just like absolutely crazy. But yeah, man, shout out to Seth, man. I'm sure you guys will be seeing a lot more of him. He's not going anywhere, man. He'll be around. He'll be doing things. I'm sure he'll get the stream up and start making some videos and some content. He'll be around for sure. So stay tuned
I'm
for
actually
him.
pissed. I'm
Why,
actually
Pat?
pissed he retired.
Why, Pat? Why you mad?
Because
He was
I
on your
needed-
fantasy team.
I know that too. I still got to figure out what that means for me and anyone
you're
else who
just
had
shocked.
Seth on
They're not gonna-
fantasy.
They're not gonna let you.
I got to get a
start playing.
replacement, Ben. I got to get a replacement.
Yeah,
At least give me Dashy. At least give me Dashy, because it's just replacing Dashy. Like it's the
Yeah,
same.
they should replace
fair.
all
You might
Scumps
need
with
to
Dashy.
tweet
That's
a
what they should
breaking
do.
point and,
Most people,
ask them.
but think about it. Dashy was out, so most people didn't pick Dashy anyway. I should just be able to get a replacement. But one thing that makes me mad is now I got to deal with Crim 6.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? You got to deal with Border now?
Because I mean, and hey, some people aren't gonna like this. They just
here we
aren't.
go.
Oh,
But
God. Here we go.
Seth retiring now solidifies Crim 6 as the GOAT. It's just a matter of fact. And now,
Like,
I gotta-
from like a pure competitive perspective.
yeah, of course. I mean, obviously Seth has done miles more than anyone else in terms of for COD. But with him retiring now, it is objectively clear that Crim 6 is now the official GOAT
He can't
of
catch
competitive
up.
Call of
He
Duty.
can't
And
catch
no one can catch. Yeah, no one
He's
can
not
catch.
gonna catch up.
Maybe
I will
in like
say.
8 years we'll talk about Simp after he wins like 4 world championships or whatever. But for now, for the next few years, we got to deal with that asshole because now he knows he's the GOAT. Seth
Yeah,
was
but-
the only one that could have called him.
But you could look at it in other ways, too, man. I feel like Scump's the GOAT in other ways, Pat. You know,
Yeah,
he's
but
a-
we're
Yeah,
competitors.
we're talking about
We're talking about
pure
pure
yeah,
competitive.
competition.
if we're talking about straight competition, well then I think
Got
it
3
might.
world
What about
championships
Damon?
and
What about
30
Damon?
some. Well, Krim just beats him in terms of overall wins, like, and longevity. Krim just has the best argument.
Yeah,
out
but
of
are we
anybody. He's got
going?
the most
But
world
why?
championships,
But why?
the most
But why?
wins, and the most longevity?
Let me ask y'all something. Why do you guys make your top GOAT list based off just like achievements? Like no other sort of
38.
like
Because
Pat.
That's what we played for. I mean, it's all of it though. It's money earned. It's literally, and money earned's a hard argument because of the inflation of prize pools over time, right? Like it's a really hard argument to make a money earned thing in a fair argument. So, but it's everything. I mean, it's wins, it's world championships, it's longevity.
Well, think about
all of it.
So Pat, I wanted to ask you, like, think about the NBA, right? Like, I know that who do you think is the best to ever do it? You think LeBron James, right? You think LeBron James is the best to ever do
LeBron
it,
James.
right? So the way you're talking about COD is just that it just doesn't make sense for the way you view other sports, you know? Like it just doesn't. It's not adding up. Pat.
Statistically, LeBron beats everyone. Statistically, he's got the most points in the playoffs. He's gonna probably maybe have the most grand finals appearances when he's done if he wins a few more. He's up there in rings. He's gonna end with like 40,000 plus points, 11,000 plus rebounds, 11,000 plus assists. He just did it all, and he had every achievement.
But when
he
it
could
comes to
possibly
the
have.
trophies,
Right,
because
but
Seth has had
that
every
argument's-
achievement. Seth has had every achievement that Porter's had too. He's won everything Porter's won.
He's won 8 less events and 2 less world championships.
It's
Yeah,
Seth-
no,
Seth's
I'm not.
argument is,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you there.
I'm not
I'm just
discrediting
saying.
Seth. I think Seth's a clear second, but
I just feel like it's a lot closer. Like Seth was a dominant slayer, and he was a main submachine gun player, bro. Like maybe I was a
Porter
little.
was dominant too. I mean, there's no
Yeah,
debate
of
on Porter's
course.
dominance.
But Scump
In
played
the
at the
way,
highest level with a sub for consistently for years. Like I don't know.
To the LeBron James argument, Tom. I mean, if Pat wants to bring up LeBron James, he's 38 and averaging like 30 points a game in the NBA. No one's ever done that. We're talking about Seth in season, I don't know, whatever, averaging over a 1, absolutely frying it so far he's played this season. Like
I mean, but Seth
done that.
only lasted at what, one stage more than Krim?
He was going to keep putting up those numbers all season. Seth played so good last
Right,
season.
right, but he quit. I mean, yeah, we can make the same argument for MJ. If MJ played 8 more years, yeah, he would probably solidify himself. It's just not how it worked out. That's why I said, because Seth retired, it solidifies Krim as the GOAT.
It depends on your definition.
Yeah, it depends. Exactly. It's subjective. Depends on your definition of GOAT.
No, actually, I don't think it's subjective. I think, I mean, when you just look at overall, like pure competitive stats, like just over across the board, like achievements, Krim just wins. It is what it is. Look, that's a clear number 2, bro. I just think I'm pissed that he retired because I wish that debate was closer. Because if Seth won a few events this year and won a world championship, I think that conversation's a lot closer. But
we should.
I think it's very close, to be honest. But go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Pat's not going to agree with us, so I think we should move on.
Yeah, we can move on.
100%. Do we want to continue talking about Seth? Do we want to talk about now the new?
Well, I mean, I would definitely love, because we have a lot to cover, but I would love to talk about the new Optic team. I guess we'll lead with this. Obviously, Dashy's coming in. Want to show this clip from TST first before we get anything going. Let's tune in and see what they had to say.
Bruce coming back was Hector's call.
Really?
Yeah, like that's how serious Seth was. Seth was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then Hector was like, well, Bruce is coming back, and I don't care who's happy or who's not. Bruce is coming back.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's
the first time I've ever heard Hector talk that way. He was like, all right, enough of the players making decisions. Bruce is coming back, and that's that.
Yeah. That's sick.
And then, so it was cool to
So, yeah. So, obviously, I don't know what happened to the video. It was a black screen on the Reddit, but it's okay. You guys heard it. Hector putting his foot down. Listen, guys, we got Dashy on a bench. This guy's ready to go. Talented. He's playing. That's it. It is what it is. What do you guys think about that?
I'm not surprised
never
by
mind.
that at all. What else are they gonna do? Who are they gonna go get?
They have to pick up a challenger's player.
They got literally the most one of the most talented ARs.
Yeah,
on
no, I
their
like
team.
that play. I like that.
Like, yeah, I mean, I think if
it
anyone was
work.
expecting anything different, yeah, then I think you're delusional. I mean, that's Hex made the right move. Like, and I would be really surprised if players were arguing against that, right? Like, I
think interestingly, Pat as well. Ant was streaming, I think yesterday. Check it correct me if I'm wrong. and was talking about kind of, his perspective on all of it, and said, in recent days they really talked, and there's some learning lessons to come out of Bruce's kind of arguments on kind of what happened on the end, like raising a change as a coach and all this stuff. Like, obviously, look, it's not ideal what the owner comes in and calls shots, and I've never heard of Hector really putting his foot down like that. He's always been pretty player focused on what the players want to do in the roster. But you know what? Like, Bruce is very talented. They've got a few role things to figure out, and we'll dive in here this conversation on it. But if they can figure out the Bruce and Rambo thing, and Ray's willing to change and Bruce is willing to change, like, yeah, they got to catch up with how behind they are. But they could definitely win events with this team, win the chip for sure.
Pat, Chris, you agree?
I think from a talent perspective, yeah, it's probably the best they could have got. Only time will tell how this actually works out. They have the talent to do so. The one thing that's gonna be weird, at least for me, is who's gonna run like the third sub, because there are like actual hills.
Who's gonna run the main?
When I watched Scump play, was it yesterday? He was running, or Sunday, sorry. He was running a third sub, quite a few hills. So we'll see how that changes their team dynamic.
I think Dashy should run a flex. I think he should be the one running it. Me personally.
Chat saying Illy is gonna run it.
I just disagree with you guys. I mean, I don't care who runs what. I just disagree. I just think this team is going to be a worse version of the team they had at Raleigh. Does no one else agree?
So.
Listen. Be able to make
I know.
Change until after
I know. Hugh is a faster player than Seth, but
Scump was playing really well, bro. He was a big part of their team.
But that's what I'm saying. Hugh plays faster than Seth, but let's be real. Seth is better than Kyler in this game. From everything that we've seen,
yeah, but the team dynamic,
better.
The team dynamic.
I don't buy into that much. I don't think that changes as much. I think they are going to just be
a lot, bro.
The same version of the team that they were, just a little worse. I think they'll be worse at search, and honestly worse at respawns. Like, unless Kyler comes out and fries
search, bro. I think they're gonna get better at search.
I disagree. Kyler is literally a first blood magnet.
Well, bro, Tom and I were breaking it down. Like, they're sort of on certain maps. First off, their S&D map pool is like very shallow. They've only played 3 of the 5 S&D maps, I believe, so far this season. So that's interesting.
I just think Seth was their best player. They lost their best player, and they got a bottom 10 player. That's how I look at it.
I mean, whatever you want to say about Kyler, like they're. I mean, Tom, you remember we were going through some S&D stats earlier. Like they are for a fast team. They don't play on bombs. Like, there's a lot of things that they can improve in search right now, because they're already kind of at the floor. The only area you can get to that's worse than in search is Seattle. I don't see them being worse than Seattle at search. So,
people in the chat are acting like Kyler was not bottom 10. Did y'all watch? Did y'all watch Raleigh or all of Major 1? He was objectively bottom 10.
He looked a lot better in their last match, and he's playing with a complete
one game against Boston.
He was playing. I mean, I'm not going to say the guy's
he had solid games on LAJ too.
I think they all still have something to prove as a team and as individuals. But at the same time, bro, like, having a change of environment helps, and then
definitely helps.
It helps a lot. And like, bro, they obviously are playing the game, and they know they had pacing issues with Seth running a subs. That's why they swapped them over to an AR.
Yeah.
Right. So them fixing that issue, like, Dashy might actually be able to come in and have an easier time than he did before. Like, you can't be all doom and gloom. They literally looked pretty damn good in their last match.
I just think y'all are on a little DS cheese right now.
Bro, I don't think. I mean, I want to go back to this fucking flex thing. Like, okay, they're gonna run Illy as a flex. He's not a, I like Ender, but he's not like a career.
I'm about to hit chat with it.
And if you look at all the top teams in the league right now, their flex player is usually their best or second best player of their team. And I feel like for Bruce, I know doesn't enjoy running a sub, but I think their like ceiling is way better at him in that position. And I'm curious to see if and when they figure that out.
Yo. By the way, I got the lowest 10 from Major 1. Chat was trying to talk crazy, so I had to pull out receipts. Listen, men lie, women lie, stats don't. And I got it up. I was bottom 10.
But he's also playing with 2 other people that are bottom 10. And although Arcitys isn't there, like, bro, you can't do well when everyone is playing bad.
Yeah,
you literally
can't.
Their team was so mega chalk, bro.
Listen, stats don't lie. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
listen. The Collar thing is this. I don't disagree with you. Pat Collar obviously did not play well in Major 1, but I think Collar is like the last couple of years has been a crazy inconsistent player. Someone whose ceiling we saw at Major 2 last year was like unkillable. Like FaZe had a complete problem with him in grand finals, and like they're a super talented team. Like Kyler can get to that level, and I thought he didn't play too bad on Sunday. Now my concern with this team, and especially him and Ann as a sub duo, is like they are people that sometimes skip steps. This is a game where you can't make mental mistakes in blocking spawns because you're just going to make it too hectic to deal with. And they do need to get better in searches. We highlight like that. They got to put in blood, sweat, and tears to get better in that game mode. Because right now, eventually everybody's going to fall back to this point where they're winning. You know, the elite teams are winning 55, 56% of their hard points. It's going to go down to game 5s, and you got to be confident in your search. And right now, they're not a confident search team. But we'll see what happens, and we'll see if this roster is even the one that they use after Major 2 when other teams want to make changes after Boston.
Listen, I definitely think it changes scenery, Chris. Like what you were saying is 100% true. It's just, listen, you can't disagree with what Pat and Ben are saying. Like, I understand stats are stats, right? And he has been up and down, inconsistent. Like, that's something that Kyler needs to make sure that he just makes himself more consistent moving forward. But I definitely think him playing with other people, especially people that he found success with, it might help him a little bit, you know? But I don't know. Only time will tell. So we'll pay close attention to them. But who runs the trophy? Is it going to be
both ARs?
Yeah.
Both ARs.
Yeah.
Trophies, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I think Ender. I mean, this again, who runs the sniper S&D? This is why I think the Bruce the flex thing is good, because I think Ender proved that he was pretty good with a sniper. And I would rather, as good as Bruce is with a sniper in S&D, like he is also very good with an AR, and I feel like taking the AR out of his hands in that mode is kind of a miss. But they also can kind of mix if they really want to get nerdy with it. They can have both of them snipe, and you can make it situational. Like you can make it really hard on other teams in that game mode. So that's why I think their S&D potential is there.
Yeah.
So, thoughts on my end? We'll see what they show.
Let's move it on. I see that Optic plays Toronto this weekend coming up. They play Seattle first, right, Ben? And then they play Toronto second.
Yeah.
So they play Toronto. Will Ender be playing from the Toronto HQ again, playing against Toronto? What do you guys think? I'm not sure how that's gonna work.
I think they'll let him. I think they'll let him. They don't see these guys as a threat.
Krabby's in the chat. So enough time has passed that it's possible that Optic sent league PCs or whatever equipment that Ender needs in order to legally or be required by league rules to play from his home spot by now. But obviously, I mean, Scrappy, you let me know in the chat, like if any conversations have happened that Ender playing for the facility. Obviously, that's typical out of the Ultra guys to let him do it on the weekend. But obviously, I can understand when they play that match why you wouldn't want to give your opponent, that accommodation. Does anyone there? That's extremely typical out of you guys. Then honestly, not really caring
Well, I just
about
said.
having an advantage and just being like a good organization. That's
Ben, did you hear anything I just said?
respectable. What'd you say?
They don't see these guys as a threat.
I mean, I assume that's not why they're doing it. They're trying to be
Toronto
nice.
is a shark, and they smell blood in the water, Ben. They smell blood in the water, and they're gonna come in. They're gonna take care of business. Simple as that.
That's crazy, bro.
This is the 2023 World Champions. They're gonna take care of business.
I want to mention is does anyone know the status on Man's visa? Because we got about a month. No, we got under a month till the next major, and he needs to get over here. So
Yeah, how does that work? So what is the problem with his visa now? So he has to go back and renew it? Is that how it works? Like, I don't understand.
We don't know what his problem is.
I have no idea.
Okay, so I mean, what happens if he doesn't get his visa in time for the next major?
Well, and
Seth
apparently
Is Scump coming in? Is Scump coming back in?
Yahtzee is saying that it has been sorted, so I guess it's just a matter of time till he's back over there. So, all right, well, that question's answered. Thank you, chat.
I feel like there's no way it's not sorted.
Whoa, what does sorted mean? What does that mean? If it was sorted, he'd be getting on a plane tomorrow. No.
Listen, bro, I don't know,
I don't
but what
know.
if Scump has to come back and play?
He might have to,
Imagine.
and then if
That'd
he
be
has
tough.
to, he'll come back in. Yeah, I mean, he'll do the best he can. He's
No
probably
scrims.
he's not gonna be scrimming with him.
Just pops
so,
up, pops off, 1.5.
Yeah, he's just gonna go in there and give it the best he can. Probably just call it a day. Just go as hard as you can. But that would be crazy if Seth had to come back in. But we'll see what happens there. Ben, I like this question that you wrote on this sheet. Is Shotzi the franchise player now? Good question, Ben. It's a great question.
I mean,
for
I'll
you.
answer the question that I wrote, which is as good as like Brandon is. Obviously, Kyler at times in his career. Ender, I think Ant, yes, he's the one with the keys on the squad.
Shotzi's been the franchise player. for at
But
least a year now.
But now that Seth is who was the
This is like
cornerstone,
this is similar to like the Lakers thing. Like when AD joined the Lakers, like it became AD's team. Like Bron's on his way out. Like yeah, Bron's the more storied player, but like Shotzi is the franchise player. Like he's the guy who's going to lead Optic Gaming for the next X amount of years. Like he's been the franchise player.
Yeah, but
I don't know if he's been the franchise player. I mean, if Scump's on the team, Scump's the franchise player.
Seth was thinking about retiring 8 months ago.
Yeah, and that's the only reason. That's when Shotzi became the franchise, when Scump started talking about retirement. I mean, that's just how it went.
I think Seth's been thinking about retirement for a while.
Well, I mean, we don't know. I mean, that's up to I don't know when Seth, how long he's been thinking about it. But I mean, if Scump's on a team as a starter, not thinking about retirement, like that's your franchise player without a doubt. I think now Ant is gonna be that guy for sure. I think Ant is gonna have to fill in those shoes, and he already has been. But Ant's gonna fill in those shoes just fine, bro. Like he's super talented, super fun to watch. He's got a great personality. You know, he's just a good dude, man. Like I could see Ant filling in those shoes really well.
Is he unbanned from streaming yet? Remember how he said he was?
He's live right now. Yeah, he's live.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
that was so funny when he was like, "I'm banned from streaming during the whole roster stuff because of the leaksy stuff."
He's watching us right now. I just tuned into his stream. So
Chris is hidden. If you can hear me, bro, I want to poll in the chat. Average age of the viewers right now. Everyone vote your age. I'm curious.
It's gonna come out as like 40.
I want below 15. Below 20, below 25, and below 30.
Bro, most people in the chat are in their 20s, Pat. 100%.
Think so?
I know so. I got the analytics. It's literally.
We're doing it, but that's normal. That's your normal viewership. We're talking about right now, this particular episode.
They're all in their 20s. Look, Pat, they're all 20s. A few. I've seen a few like.
They might be lying, Tom. They might be lying.
Maybe, Pat. I don't know.
I saw a 13 there.
So
37.
Yeah, he saw 113. Yeah.
So Chris is hitting his slacking, bro. He didn't get the poll up.
But yeah, so we'll see. How do you think the team, after all the drama that went down, all that roster mania fugazi? I mean, how do you think they're gonna mesh? I mean, how do you think they're gonna do? I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be fine.
I think they're under practiced. I think they're under practiced. They can get by in respawn in hardpoint on. They made Boston look like an unskilled team this weekend in respawn, which is crazy.
It was a hand of the king cheese.
Sure, whatever you want to say. But the S&D is the big focus point. I think they've got to get caught up and start innovating in that game mode. Because as we've talked about, with the average talent in the league being as it is, the S&D is going to win chips. They're a bottom S&D team right now. They need to expand their map pool. They need to get better at the maps that they're currently playing. So they have a shot when they play better teams, and they have to grind out these series in game 5.
I mean, for me, I feel like they're just still in the top 6 bubble no matter what. Keep Seth still in the top 6 bubble. Seth's gone, still in the top 6 bubble. Like, I don't know. For me, even if they do everything you just said, I have a feeling that they're like, it's gonna be really hard for them to break into this top 3.
Nah, they can. All you gotta play is 2 good series of comedy to land in your top 3. Like,
I mean, that's a format issue, but I'm just talking about an overall top 3 team. Not like, can they pull out a top 3? I'm talking about, are they overall a top 3 team? Not can they go to an event and get a top 3?
Until proven otherwise, the top 3 teams in the league right now, because Seattle's very good, but S&D is.
It's FaZe, New York, and Toronto.
Yeah,
in any order. Who cares?
Top 3. I cannot get there with this squad. I think so. I don't think they're going to get there before Major 2, though. I think they have to put in a month's worth of work to really catch up, considering all the practice they missed with people getting COVID before Major 1, the 55 roster changes they've now made since then, New Year's, and it's now the first week of CDL matches in Major 2. Like, we won't see if they're going to run this team for Major 3, I don't think we're going to see the best of them until they pull up to Atlanta ESA. Like, that's how long a view I have on it. They're not going to be an instant success.
By the way, shout out to all the bins in the chat. There's 200 people above 31.
Damn. You have to throw a stray at Ben like that, bro.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
yo, Pat, come on, Pat. What the hell, Pat?
What'd I do?
Why you age watching, bro?
No way, bro. Look, he's even got gifts of you, Ben. He's a fan, bro. He loves you, Ben. He loves you.
My man loves my reaction gifts.
But hey, listen, I wanna move things on. obviously, we have some other things to talk about, but just a huge shout out to Scump again for such an amazing career. Before we move on from Optic.
Oh, one more Optic thing, Tom. They've
Yep.
got some banger matches this week. Like both the matches they play are against good teams. So I think we'll see kind of where this team's level's at. If they go 1-1 this week, I think that'd be good business, as you say.
Yeah, no, we'll be tuned in. We'll be watch partying and locking that down.
We predicted like the best they could probably do was 3-2. Looking at when we looked at their schedule before all this started, like they had a really tough schedule, and we were like, probably the best they can do is 3-2.
They have Seattle, Toronto, Vegas, and FaZe. 3-2 seems pretty reasonable for that.
Like absolute best, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a world where they can win all four for sure. Like that'd be crazy, but I think it's doable. The problem is like even a matchup like Vegas. We talked about the S&D weakness. It's like Vegas is not an easy out. Because they can grind you and they can win that fifth game with how good their team has been in search this year. So
yeah, no, for real, I agree. I definitely agree, bro. Vegas look good this year, Ben. They actually
because they're like the second best S&D team in the game, bro. They're absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no, they
can't believe I'm saying that.
No,
they might actually be the best team in the S&D team in the game, actually.
Well, I know you're a big TJ fan. TJ's been doing his thing in search.
It's been unbelievable in search, Tom. Unbelievable.
That's S&D star, man. T-squared right there. But yeah, let's move the discussion on. Huge shout out to Scump. Once again, what an amazing career he's had, and I'm sure you guys will be seeing a lot more of Scump moving forward, man. He'll be doing a lot, man. Trust me. He'll be around doing his thing, man. So we'll see more of Seth. But let's direct our attention to a few other rosters because there's some other changes, guys, that I didn't expect either. I don't know what's going on in the COD scene, but London also changing. Apparently, Trey was on stream talking about how a change has been made, and Paul X is coming in to fill in or to take his spot, to take Trey's spot. So it's going to be Paul X, Scraps, Nasty, and Asim. What do you guys think about that? That was that kind of caught me off guard.
I don't understand.
They got to chalk it up, Ben. Call a spade a spade. They got to chalk it up.
What is the okay? What
they
are we doing, bro? What is the plan with this team, bro? Like
I don't know.
Boston it gave a textbook example last year. If you're in a leftover situation, about how to like long-term plan and make it like a contending team. And yeah, we haven't seen the best of Boston yet, but their team makes way more sense to this London team, which is like A-Team's having a really good season. If you dive in on Nasty's performance, it actually hasn't been all that bad compared to other subs. Their ARs, though, have been poor, and they've shuffled now a couple of different AR lineups. They brought Scraps in. He didn't play well in his first weekend. Now to drop Trey for Paul, and Paul was, when he was in, had like a couple of good matches and then really, really struggled after that. I think they're just kind of throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks, man.
I mean, there's not really much they could do, I guess. Maybe they just, I don't know why they were so quick to jump on the get rid of Trey train. Maybe they just saw Paul was just too good of a player to have on a bench. Like, I know Paul is a really good player, in my opinion. I don't know what the fallout was with Paul to begin with. Like, why did Paul go to the bench? Was it Paul's decision?
Paul took a 3-day I need to
bender,
turn
like a
my
break.
life around. Yeah,
like he took a break, right? So like
it was 2 days though, or 3 days.
I don't know. That just like really confused me. Like Paul goes to the bench, then they get Tank, and now Trey's going to the bench, and Paul's coming back. It was just weird, the way it all happened.
I love Trey, and like obviously, homie, like I did manage him for a bit. Tom, he's a good kid. Let's not act like he wasn't playing all that good prior to this. Definitely had to step it up, and so I understand from a performance aspect why they may want to replace Trey with someone. But all of this like confuses me with like all of the rumors behind the scene about Harry and Gizmo. It's like, if you want those players in, why weren't they part of your initial plans in the beginning of the season? Like, none of the London project makes any sense to me.
Who's the GM? I know Dominate's the coach, right? Who's the GM over there?
I think Dom's probably calling all the shots.
Okay. I think you just ask Asim what he wants to do and do whatever he wants.
I mean, yeah, I agree, Ben, that maybe Harry and Gizmo should have probably been a thought. But they had Maddie on their bench, and now they can always go and sign them, Ben. I mean, they're in challengers. I don't know exactly.
Why is the chat saying Vicstar?
Here's the thing, Tom, is like, one is, I don't know what their visa situation is. If they haven't renewed their visas, that takes time, as we've seen with this whole Ender thing. So if you want to bring them in, well, that's not an instant thing you can do. If you had been a part of your initial preseason plans as a longer term down the season play, like, you could have done that. It's just none of this is like great forward thinking planning out of them, right? The Boston project Makes sense. They picked up Beans in the offseason. If they need to make a swap at the AR, down the line, they're set there. If they need to make a sub move, pick up some from challengers. Everything makes a lot of sense with Boston, which is in a similar situation. They start with a kind of a leftover team. In this one, they're just throwing stuff at a wall and hoping it sticks, and that's why they're the 12th best team in the CDL right now. 12.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can move on from London. Let's, Chris or Pat, you have anything else to add to that before we move on to the next topic?
Those guys are chalked.
All right, let's keep it pushing. Is Boston good? Why'd you have this down, Ben? Boston, what's going on with Boston?
Bro, so my point on this is, and this is more to Chris and Pat and even you, Tom. It's like, what do we think about this Boston team? Like, what are your thoughts? Are they going to end this season and be a top 4 team, or are they going to be someone once again that's going to get out of champs and just kind of do remarkable?
7 through 12.
Yeah, I think Pat said in his predictions when he was, memeing the standings going into champs, he said that Boston wasn't even going to be in the at champs basically. But I mean, my thoughts on this team, I feel like they're not a bad team. They just, they can't win a game 5.
Yeah, it's the game 5s that hurt them.
There's been one series, I think, in the entire time that they've played, if I can remember correctly, when they played with their full roster, that they were not competitive in. And it was pretty early. It was in the first stage. I think it was in one of their first stage matches. But besides that, bro, they go last map versus every fucking team, and they just can't win. Like I know that they're not winning some of these series that you think they should, but dude, they're not a bad team. They just can't close games.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I don't know what it is either.
We've talked about game 5. Stats go out the window, bro. Like. They just gotta play better. I don't know what to tell you. I wish I had some analytical for you, but I don't.
For reference, last season they were 7-6 in game 5, so I don't know what changed from. Obviously, the big wake for TJ swap is the only thing that's really changed.
They had big Cap last year.
They had
most
Cap,
of those game
they
5
had Cap
wins.
and Tej, and both those guys are good S&D players, like actual S&D like stars at points, and when they played. So
wait, Ben,
I mean,
did you see? I mean, this is irrelevant to this point, but did you see that when you were talking about like being mad at Boston for leaving the lobby, Nero had joined the agency?
Yeah, bro. Dude, I lost composure during that game 5, bro.
Why?
The things I was seeing, they went up to a 2-0 nice lead. They were calling with speed. I'm like, okay, these guys are here to play. And then the stuff that I saw on defense, where they were so shook by Indra having a sniper mid-map on Mercado, and we're just giving Optic as much map control as they want, just dictate the pace of the map. It was like I'm just, bro, this like makes no sense to me. Have some cojones in this matchup.
I think their problem isn't search sometimes. I think it's just that they don't have like a leader in there, like the person that's going to call like the mid-round adjustments, like the rotates, the like, oh, this is this, let's push this out. Like it seems like they're one of those teams that they have their set strategies right at the beginning of the round. As soon as they execute their search strategies, if it doesn't work or they get nothing off it, they don't know what to do.
So you're saying they need a king and not a hand?
Dude.
Listen, I think Boston, I think they're very talented. Like I agree with Chris. They're a very talented team. I think they could go far, but they have to do something about their search. And I think they should start squaring up with the snipe. And I think somebody on that team needs to bring out the sniper and square up with it.
I mean,
you don't even have to square up. Like there
not
are
just
there
square
are
up, but
ways
bro,
on-
so many people on
there are
that
ways on
team
Mercado
can
to hit
snipe
it.
though. You know
There
what
are
I'm
ways
saying?
in Mercado to back down the sniper if you want to do it. I just felt like they go ahead, Pat. Actually, I don't want to cut you off.
do you not think they should look into bringing in Beans? Isn't that Beans guy like absolutely
Beans is nasty
gross?
with a sniper, yeah.
Isn't he just absolutely
Bring him in for
filthy?
search.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm down.
I watched a clip. I watched a
that.
clip where he got like an ace with a sniper. It was gross. I think it was on Embassy.
Wait, Chris, that's actually not that. I mean,
They're not going to do that.
Who are you dropping search on their team?
I don't know.
Anyone who's getting first
literally
blooded.
Not the worst. It's considering their situation and where they're at. It's listen. Chat always loses full when I bring this up, but like it's actually not the worst idea on planet Earth. And they weren't that good of a search team last year either, even with Cap and
I mean,
Yeah,
I
they
just
were the
think
same thing,
I think
no
their
ice.
team in general just needs to like start icing up in these S&Ds. They need to have more of a game plan because it just seems like they have like these one-dimensional play styles in search. They have their basic executes, and then they just have no variety. Like they're like failure to adapt like to what other teams are doing. And if they keep losing in this fashion, like I wouldn't be surprised if they do try to bring in Beans for whatever reason or for whoever, just because like, bro, they're not living up. I'm sure like these guys are obviously all having this conversation. Like they're losing these series in very heartbreaking ways, and they're just not living up to the potential that these guys feel like they probably could. Because you got to think a couple of those game fives go a different way. Their record looks better. They're probably still in the major after Thursday. Like they could potentially make some of these runs if they can close out those game fives. So I don't know.
Let's move our direction to another team. We can also talk about the Minnesota ROKKR. Kind of what's going on with them. I think, on paper, I think they have a really good roster, but right now it's just not looking too hot. Chris, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Sorry, who are you saying?
The Minnesota ROKKR.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, Pat was always saying how like these guys literally just can't perform on land up to the potential that they do online. I don't know if it's the organization that's cursed, but one thing that struck me about this year, and like it was a saving grace of the ROKKR team before, was their S&D. These guys are clearly not as good at search as they were obviously with their older rosters, and they still have like failed to make improvements in hard points, or at least in game ones. And I don't really know what that is because they're completely different rosters outside of attach. Like, is Dylan a problem here? Is it the coaching staff? Is it just the luck of the draw? Like, what's going on here?
This was simple, bro. This is just a worse Toronto Ultra. That's all this team is from the get-go. They were literally
Afro instead of Kleenex and Dylan instead of Jamie.
They're just a worse version of the Toronto Ultra was. Like, I don't understand. Like, to me, it's clear cut, and arguably with probably a worse coaching staff. Like,
bro, they are so. This team map 1 and map 2 stats are mind blowing with this team. They are 3-5. Oh no, sorry, this is the wrong team. Their map 1 and map 2 sets are crazy. If you give me 1 second,
are they scrimming before? Are they scrimming before their pro matches?
Up for sure.
Okay, bro, they gotta stop warming up. They gotta stop warming up.
They're scrimming before the match.
Bro, just stop scrimming and go into a match cold and see if you can win a map 1. No bullshit.
3-8 in map 1 and 4-7 in map 2. Like, just not gonna. If
what's
you wanna,
their what's their map 4 record?
5-2.
These guys just all start slow.
Are they losing every coin toss? Like, what is it?
No, I can't, bro. The coin, like that's not. It's something.
Even Dylan was saying that.
Prep work.
He was saying they always play better with their backs against the walls, and they got to figure out how to make that click.
That's the last thing you want.
Yeah, you got to figure out how to play
win the way. Yeah.
At all times. Like you got to come out hot because, bro, it's not easy when you go down early. Definitely not easy.
I mean, the problem for them again is to your point, and Stanley's in the chat, is like Toronto's really good. And they're probably pretty good for a champ spot. FaZe is pretty good for a champ spot. New York won events, so they should be the locks. Seattle will win enough that they'll get in. There's not that many spots left at that point. There's a lot of competitive teams. We talked about Vegas. I feel like Vegas is more going to clutch up in that situation than the ROKKR are. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a weird team. They got to play FaZe, LAG, and Seattle, which FaZe probably getting better at hard point. LAG hasn't lost a hard point with this new squad, and we know how good Seattle is in respawn. Like, these are another three teams that are going to play. That's going to be really tough to beat in map 1 and map 2.
I'm looking at ROKKR like as a team, and I don't even know what they're like good at. Like, I think they're pretty good at like Asilo control and like Fortress.
I know what they're good at.
Like, they're 8-3 in control, by the way. So actually,
yeah, I was gonna say that's what I'm saying. They're pretty good at control, but like, what's their respawn niche here? Like, I don't know what they have. I'm pretty sure it's like a Fortress.
They're good at wasting money. They're good at wasting money in the
outside of that though, Ben, I don't really know like what their map pool is like in terms of like what they're good at. Like, I feel like they have such a tiny map pool. And they're just like losing these coin tosses and just getting blown out like the first or second games.
Not that bad, Chris. They're actually the only bad. They're 500 every map, but they don't really. They never played Mercado at all. That's probably their auto veto.
So they have an auto
veto. 0-2 on Hydro. So that's the one that's kind of dragging their 8-10 record down. The S&D one is brutal though. Their only map they have a win percentage on is Hotel 2-1. So it's 1-0 on Fortress. But against FaZe or Toronto, they're going to say, get Fortress out of here, and they'll square up on any other map. It's the S&D map pool is banned those game 2s, and that's why they're either getting swept or they're getting 3-1 because they win that control. That's your constellation map, and they lose map 4 and just done.
And then another team that Ben, you got on your list to talk about. It's a great list, by the way, Ben. I like what you did today. Thank you very much for doing it. Shout out to executive producer Benji Nassim, man. And then we also got the Los Angeles Thieves, who might be in a little bit of a slump. What do you guys think about LA Thieves' slump, and do you think they'll be able to get out of it? I know last year they got off to a really rough start, made a little role change, and they ended up turning the year around and obviously winning the last 2 events, one of them being champs, where they all went away home world champions. So this is a team for me that I personally I think these guys can figure it out for sure. But what do you guys think?
I think it's
Ben, we'll start with you guys.
2 things. One is slaying and hardpoint is not there right now. The slaying numbers in hardpoint are brutal, even though they're actually winning a decent amount of searches, or sort of hard points are like pretty even. The slaying is really, really bad. The second thing is their situational play and search. If you dive in on the numbers and you even watch, like for example, the last match you just played, they are making so many mistakes mid-round and just not clutching 4v3s. They're not converting bomb down situations. It's almost all the same problems that they had at the beginning of last year. And I don't remember who said it in a watch party we were in, Tom, as one of the pros. He said, you know what? This team might just be like a slow learning team in search. Like they just take time to figure it out. They need to get a lot of reps and then it kind of clicks. That might be the situation they're in right now. Like their setups are good. They're actually getting bloods. They just, once they get a blood, they're just not making the right decisions after that.
Yeah, Pat, Chris, what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Pat.
No, you go first, Chris. I'll go last.
I just think this team's a slow learning team. Like you said, this feels so similar to, their problems in Vanguard outside of when they swapped roles, but now they don't really have that luxury. It's not like they're going to swap roles again. I feel like everyone's running what they're supposed to run. They're just not performing up to the caliber of the players that they have on their roster. And me and Pat talked about it on the reverse sweep,
It's
but
simple.
we basically said, like, we're going to give these guys like another major, maybe even the stage. But like after that, we're going to be looking at them like, yo, what are y'all doing over there? Because they have the talent. And I feel like if this team was to make a change, because we were obviously proposing that last year before they made the role swap, they don't have options. It's like, who the fuck are they going to go out and get? So these guys just need to figure it out.
Bro, they're not making changes anytime
That's why
soon.
I'm not saying they will. I'm saying like they don't really have any other options. It's not like they're going to role swap again. I think they're just a slow learning team, and they got to figure it out because what? Good.
I was just say I just don't think they're as good at Modern Warfare 2 as they were at Vanguard. I just don't think this game
Bro, it's so
fits
early
this
to
team.
say that. Give me a break, bro.
Nah, I genuinely just don't think this game fits that team. I don't
think about the last game.
I don't think
figured it out.
No. What? They had Kenny on an AR, bro. What are you saying?
And then they figured out the
Listen,
change you have to make, and they rolled.
There
from
is
there.
no change to make. There's no role swap. There's no roster change. They got the best of the best that they could possibly get. I just think it's simple. This game just doesn't really fit this team, and it just
Way
is what
too
it
early to
is.
say that,
What
bro.
do you think it is about the game that's
I just think
throwing
it
them
plays
off?
different. I just think it plays a lot different.
Why does it play? What specific different about?
What
the
do you
game is the reason they
mean?
suck?
What do you mean? This game is
Give
way
specific
slower.
examples.
This game is way slower than Vanguard.
It is. It is way
It's
slower.
way slower.
I also think like a lot of their players are like they rely on like making plays, and like some of them like for example, Envoy plays really sneaky, and Kenny's like probably one of the only people that just likes to kind of like run around and shout, but like that doesn't really favor you too much in this game. Like you have to play slower, you have to play more ratty. If you're going on these like flanks or trying to make these like rattier plays, like you got to worry about getting like heard because your lack of dead silence. Like
We're
I
not
just
gonna
think
act like this game isn't completely different than Vanguard.
It is. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't fit like some of their strengths as players, and I feel like they're
This
gonna have to
isn't a
adapt to it.
playmaking game. I feel like this isn't a playmaking game, and they have a bunch of playmaking players.
What do you mean it's not a playmaking game?
Like you can't just like I feel like one player just can't make plays like they could in Vanguard.
We just watched Simp this weekend going to 17.
Bro, watching
but-
Simp run
dude.
around with Deddy versus people that just weren't shooting back is entirely different than like making winning plays by
We
yourself.
had Scrappy in the chat literally like 5 seconds ago, standing in the chat 5 seconds ago. They were making plenty of plays at Major 1. I don't know what you're talking
Bro,
about.
getting
That's not what we're
kills is not
saying,
the
bro.
same as make. Are you watching the same game?
They're breaking hills, they're rotating.
Listen, Ben. Listen.
I don't know
Ben,
why-
this is a thing where
Bro,
it's like
no
if you
red-
weren't a
no red
player,
dots
you
should
won't
actually make it
understand.
easier to make plays in this game
If you
because
weren't a
you're
player,
called out.
you won't understand. Like there's a difference between like players who can just go out and make plays and make good plays that are influential for the team. Like, and this to me is just not one of those games.
I also think LA Thieves as like a team, they have a lot of players that like to go rogue, and this is a game that like oftentimes it punishes you, bro. If you fuck up and you throw your life away or you get overzealous, like you try to overheat, right? What I know Tommy likes to use that saying, you get fucking punished in this game. You get put in a mega blender.
And you make a horrible play, you just spawn next to your team and run right back. You run at lightning speed back into the play.
We're playing a game without squad spawns anymore. Once again, if people don't know
just think these guys are better on land, to be honest. I think they're better on land.
What they play?
I think that's true too. But
they went to okay. First off, I agree with you, Tom, to an extent. Playing LA versus so many teams, like when they got to square up against Boston or Toronto.
Hey, Boston's a great matchup for them. It's a great matchup for them. Do you not remember the record-setting wins that they literally put Boston in the blender in Vanguard?
Well, Boston couldn't beat
Boston literally looked like bots versus LAT last year.
Boston couldn't beat Optic, FaZe, and Thieves last year, but for some reason they could beat Seattle. It's very bizarre. I mean, Tom, I think, yeah, they probably do play a little bit better on land, but they were still having the same slaying and S&D problems on land in Major 1. So I don't know how much of a difference it's really going to make.
What was their placement at Major 1?
Top 8?
Top 8?
Top 6? Top 8?
Top 6.
Top 6, yeah.
They're better on land. I mean, yeah, they're not bad on... Dude, they're playing... I feel like they're playing up to their top 6 potential online.
Imagine they're a top 6 team, and that's just where they're gonna stay.
That's where they're at right now.
Zini made a good point too. He said at champs they lost 6-5 to them last map, to the LADs.
But that. Then do we want to talk about that round 11 or?
I don't think Tony's gonna want to talk about the round 11. Probably.
Wait,
not.
I'm confused. I'm confused. Is Zinni saying that in terms of like LAT is not that good, or is he saying that like his team was better than we're giving credit for?
I think he's saying that
every
anything could have happened.
5 of the first round of champs last year, like everybody played close.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was throwing some shots.
Yeah, I'm confused at the point he was making.
Just looking at the fundamentals, bro. Like I said before, I think these guys just have a lot of players that like to like go rogue and make risky plays. Like I know all of their play styles like that, outside of like Sam, who just kind of like posts up. So like it doesn't favor you in this game, bro. You're coin tossing a lot of situations if you play that way. You have to play like a bitch in this COD until you get until you have full control of a hill. And I feel like sometimes these guys are just throwing away situations that they probably shouldn't. On top of their S&D not being as good as it was towards the tail end of last year, these guys are doing themselves zero favors right now.
Nope. And then I guess the last thing we got on the list here was the Seattle Surge. Ben, you feel like they struggle online versus on land. At least that's
there's a post, and someone can check and find it or tweet at me that talked about everybody's like online records this season, and like I was at the bottom of the list. So that was crazy. I was very surprised to see that. Seattle's just a weird team this season. Like they were like kind of mediocre at search last year, but they weren't this bad at search. But bro, this season they've got in 17 maps only 4 wins, and you dive in on the numbers in S&D and it's even worse when you start looking at the deep parts. So I'm curious where they get it from here. Like they don't have a lot of time to improve their search. They have the benefit of having a few extra points than everybody. Do you guys think that's going to be like a real inhibitor on them repeating their performance and making it to major finals again?
I mean, honestly, the way they played at the major, they got second, and I think they won like I can only remember like 2 actual S&Ds that they won versus good teams. One of those being FaZe in the game 5. That was the surpriser in terms of why the surprise factor in terms of why they made to the finals in the first place. Their S&D, I just don't think is ever going to really improve. Just looking at their team as a whole, like they're just not S&D players. Like I don't think there's, besides Lamar and his like crazy clutches, I don't see any of them being like super good search players or have been at any points in their careers so far. So their search and destroy game is probably going to lack. I mean, I think they can get wins on the board, but I don't think it's going to be one of their saving graces. And then in their respawn, dude, Pat, you've always said this, they're just too inconsistent, bro. Like they're having Pred and Sib go off like the majority of their games, and that's why they're able to beat these top teams. But like outside of that, like it gets to a point where like people like Mac and Lamar specifically need to produce more in the slaying numbers. You can't keep getting away with it. And I know Lamar brings a great system. I've always said that there's a reason why some of those players are able to pop off the way they do. And they're obviously a pretty damn good team if they're able to make these runs in tournaments. But like, bro, something's got to give at some point. You cannot rely on these two players to consistently put up 1.5s for you to make it in tournaments. It's literally just not feasible.
That's why they were inconsistent last year, by the way.
I mean, yeah, 12th, 3rd, 12th, 1st, 12th, 3rd. Like, I mean, are y'all cool with that? Like, bro,
I don't think they're cool.
I said it, bro.
Crazy.
Listen, you guys
They did win a tournament, Pat. They won a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, they were consistent that event. They won the tournament. This team is not about whether they have the talent to win. It's just I don't think they have the talent to consistently win or consistently place well, for that matter. Do I think they can have a one event and they just fry and win? Sure, absolutely. But I don't think they can like be a consistent top 3 team unless they pack a punch. And listen, I said it. I think they missed an opportunity this offseason to go out and pack a punch, whether that be a 1-person change, a 2-person change. I think they had an opportunity to, and they didn't. And I think they're just going to live with that result all year. I don't see this team making a team change. To me, it was clear if they were they would have done it in the offseason. And I just think we're going to see an up and down Seattle. It's going to be a roller coaster year for them. They may go to Major 2 and get shit on, come back to Major 3 and be in a final again. That's just what I see happening for this team. It is kind of what it is, but I think if they were going to make a change, they would have done it. And I think they're going to keep the roster they have. They're just going to ride the roller coaster.
I think
I mean,
oh, go ahead, Ben.
go ahead. No, you go ahead, Dom.
I was just gonna say, I after getting top 2, I mean, they won a tournament last year. They just got top 2. I mean, they're not making any changes anytime soon. I'll tell you that. So I think at this point, a lot rides on their Major 2. You know, how are they gonna do going into this next major?
Who do they
and
play?
You know, how do they think perform on land? They play Optic next. I know that's
What
their
are their
match
next?
Friday.
What are their next 4?
Optic, New York, ROKKR.
Okay, so L to New York. Optic and ROKKR could go either way.
Yeah.
They've got to basically win out. 2 and 3 might get you through,
But they're 0-1 right now, right?
but they got 3-0 smoked by FaZe, and I mean, I don't know if FaZe gonna end in a 2-3 tiebreaker, so that may not matter at the end of it. But you know, they 3 and 2, you pretty much control your ability. Obviously, seeding depends on how it goes down, but like,
But they're
2
0-2 right now.
Yeah, they're 0-2 right now. They
Oh,
lost to
they're
Vegas the last map.
Oh, right, yeah. No, they for sure, in my opinion, lose to New York, so they're 2 and 3 at best. You can't get out with 2 and 3 with like that map record that they would have.
You have to get lucky.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the unbalanced schedule, you can sometimes get 3-0'd in this and then still get away with it just because of how the tiebreakers work. But they may be starting on losers, and this might be a major cycle for them.
I was gonna say, what was the record of their series versus Vegas? I don't have the results on hand. Did they go game 5?
I went to last map. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the reason why they can't beat that team is literally because of Surge. Like, they're playing against the best S&D team. If they can squeak out a single respawn, like they aren't winning those searches. I know they got top 2 at the tournament, but like, bro, them losing to Vegas shouldn't even be like in the conversation
but
ever.
They played that tricky map 4 against Vegas at Mercado, and remember Vegas clutched up on the P2 to win that thing.
Yeah, I mean, still regardless, I mean, like, bro, if Vegas can clutch up in a respawn, then if Vegas can clutch up in a respawn, you got to think at least at some point Seattle can clutch up in a search. Like, I don't know. If you're a top 2 team and you're in contention to win championships and you want to be in that position, you can't be losing to a team that's obviously not even at that point. It doesn't make sense.
I agree, although again, Vegas is going to be like Vegas is like probably a better version of Florida, of like last year's Florida and this year's Florida, as in like, i.e. Vegas is better than Florida is at respawn. And Vegas is probably just as good as them in search. So like,
I think they're a much better S&D team.
People away, yeah.
I think they play S&D better. Florida just plays this 50-50 S&D they can win 2 in a series easily.
And the difference is Vegas, Florida's not, because they play a lot of Asilo. They're actually not record in controls not that bad. Vegas is like not that good of a control team, although I think they're going to figure it out eventually. But yeah, Vegas is going to be a tough out for everybody this season. Like, they're gonna beat a lot of decent teams this year in 5 just because they just get there and they execute their strats and they're good.
Yeah, well, any other than that, any other thoughts on the day, gentlemen? I mean, I feel like we covered most of it, but it's a long day and an unexpected day. Just a crazy one. I don't think anybody saw it coming. And just thought, kind of surprised us a little bit. But anything else you guys want to add? Pat, Chris, Ben, anything at all?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? At the end of the day, Seattle need to win a fucking S&D, bro. They're not fucking showing up in the game 5s. I mean, even Boston too. I don't know what happens on the game 5. Do they start pissing themselves? I'm not too sure. But I mean, looking at the stats, I mean, you're gonna need Mac and Lamar to step it up in those S&D game modes if you want to see Seattle provide.
Hey,
thank you, Ben J. Razine.
Ben J. Razine, thank you very much.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on the flank, bro. Bro, he comes out of nowhere. I don't understand.
Oh, yeah.
This guy comes out of nowhere. But other than that, gentlemen, any final thoughts, man? Any final
I got one
thoughts?
thing, which is I think we maybe talked about it a little bit on the Sunday show, but I want to go back to something Pat said earlier, which is, with Seth going out now, I think other people need to carry the torch. I think the nice thing with this year, and I think it's gotten even better now with the LAG change, bringing in Exceed and Joe to Thieves. There's a lot of for our hardcore fans, people that watch this show, there's a lot of really interesting beefs and matchups between some of the major teams now, the bigger franchise teams, and it makes some of these side matchups very interesting now. So from a storyline perspective, I don't think we've ever been in a better spot in Call of Duty on that front. You got
wait. What did I just hear? Wait, Chris, Tom, I wasn't the only one that heard that, right?
I think Ben's gonna have to say that in other words. Say that in other words.
Ever been in a better spot in
Call
of Duty?
For storylines.
Oh, the show's over. In the show.
Should we end it there? Should we end it there? Should we end it there?
Get him out of here. That shit was stated.
In the show. No. Get it. We gotta go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben, I feel like can you rebuttal a little bit, maybe rebuttal, because that is a questionable statement.
They're never gonna agree with me on it.
Bro, we used to have two people. Ben, we used to have two people on stage literally about to fist fight each other, Pat and fucking Nade. What do you mean storylines? This is storylines to you?
Wait, you think brawling makes for better storylines? I guess if we're in the fucking WWE, so
yeah, it fucking does. These guys want to fuck each other up. That is a fucking good storyline.
I like this shit, bro. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, listen, bro.
Tom.
I definitely don't think we're in the right state.
Vows, cut the last.
There's literally only one thing you can do now, Ben, and that's sync a pot. Not only for that faded take you just had before the king. Do not miss this pot. This one's for the king.
I haven't putted all day, so no comment.
If you miss this part, I will be heated, bro. I will be absolutely pissed,
Vows,
bro.
edit that out for us, bro, please.
Vows, we might need you to edit that terrible take out of Ben J. Nassim. I was reading this document he sent over. I didn't even realize what he said until he reset it. I couldn't believe it.
He said Exceed and Draza was the peak.
He sinks the pot for the king and he flips off the camera. Oh, man. Hey, Ben, come back, man. Come back. How do you feel, Ben? How do you feel?
I feel great. Fuck Chris. Fuck Pat. Let's end the show.
Oh, my God, bro. Listen, it's getting crazy, bro. Let's end it there, man. We'll see you guys. I know we got some matches Friday, so we'll be live. We'll be doing our thing. We'll get another show going for you guys, man. Excited to watch these up-and-coming matches, and we'll see you guys in the next one, man. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, go to anchor.fm/theflank. Check out all the audio sets around, and go follow at The Flank on Twitter. Gert's doing a phenomenal job running socials per usual, man. Take care. Brush your hair, and we'll see you guys in the next one on another episode of The Flank, man. Take it easy, guys. Good night.
Peace.